Hey everybody, it's Rob Zarrella. I am a recruiter. I run my own construction recruiting business called ZARRELLCO across the US. Pretty much everyone in the construction space I help out. This podcast is ZARRELLCO Chats, so I have conversations with all types of folks in the construction industry or related, where we're talking about different things that matter. So if you enjoy real conversations that can help you in your career or help grow your business, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, you guys. Really appreciate it. All right. Hey, everybody. It's Rob Zarrella. This is another episode of ZARRELLCO Chats. Today, I'm super excited. I have Seth Habben here. He's the CEO of Cullen Construction out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. Is it Westchester?
Wayne,
Wayne.
Pennsylvania. But
Wayne.
Westchester's close. Yeah.
It's next to Westchester. I always get the W's mixed up.
Yeah.
Um, Seth has had a very impressive home building career, and I thought he would be a great guest to have today. He started off, I believe, in home inspections and then went into more production and semi-custom building, and then now he's doing very high-end luxury stuff. So I hope I got that right, Seth, but I'd love to um, hear about you if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're doing this. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you for having me. You got that pretty darn close actually.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I think that, Rob and I've known each other for a number of years. He's helped me recruit for a handful of roles. He asked me if I would be willing to do this, and uh I showed the opportunity to my wife, who said, "You better do that." So that, yeah, I'm here.
Have to do it.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'm excited. I'm really excited to have you today. I'm curious to know how you got started because I think you're from Southern California, right?
Yeah, I am.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, that's a great place to jump in. I think, yeah, I did. I grew up in Southern California, right?
Hmm.
So I've kind of moved my way all over the country at this point, but I grew up in Southern California. I had a family there that, kind of had like a family legacy in home building. And
Hmm.
so it was almost like predestined for me to kind of go this sort of route. But, my grandfather was a mason. My dad was a home inspector and a pest control inspector for a number of years. He transitioned to owning his own home inspection company, kind of, you know, when I was in high school. So I was always helping him on jobs
That's
whenever I
great.
could, holding the flashlight, point it here, kind of very typical things.
Been
Um,
there.
yeah. I had uncles in real estate and like sales and development and, realtors. So it was like everybody around me was in some sort of residential home building, like inspection, sales kind of field.
Hmm.
And so I was surrounded by, there's so many conversations in my youth about that kind of work, right?
Right.
Um, as I got older, I decided to try my hand at real estate. So I got a real estate license probably in, I want to say 2004, 2005 ish. Tried my hand as a realtor. I was terrible at it. I
Really?
am not gonna lie. I did not like that job, and it was not for me. Um, I
Why?
transitioned. Well, I don't know. I think I really didn't at the time. I was such an introvert, and I still am. But like I kind of have learned how to like turn that on and off as needed. But um, I was such an introvert back then. I didn't know how to do that back then,
Hmm.
and uh, being an introvert in like a sales role, he just wasn't a fit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I transitioned from there to like a termite and pest control company, kind of following my dad's footsteps there, and
Hmm.
actually was really good at that. So I did that for a number of years in Southern California. About 2007, my wife and I decided to relocate to Austin, Texas.
Hmm.
Um, and in that, we decided to start our own business. And it was a home inspection business. I mean, I grew up around it. I worked for my dad for a number of years. It was so familiar. I was like, this is going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And I got licensed in Austin or in Texas, um, and we were full go. We left everybody we knew, everybody behind, just
Wow.
her and I, and we moved, bought a house, started a new business. 2008, we were pregnant with twin boys. My boys were born in March. So here I am, kind of, we're all on our own with brand new babies, and everybody knows the story about 2008.
Yep.
And the economy's terrible. I had no work. In hindsight, a little bit of a blessing. Like, I got to spend 6 months at home with my kids, like when they were
That's
first born, which was amazing.
that's great.
Um, but at the same time, we're like looking at it going, when's the work going to come back?
Right.
And
Right.
so that kind of led me to I don't know. I was like, I got to do something. And we're just looking all over, going, what can I do? And I really wanted to stay in front of homes, right? Like, I was a home inspector now, have a
Mm-hmm.
business. Let's find a way to stay in front of homes. So my brain connected the dots of I should go into home building.
Right.
And in hindsight, that's a terrible idea at the time in 2008, right? I mean, it was a brutal job search in Austin. I got laughed at on the phone over and over, people telling me I was crazy as I was calling or trying to like get them to notice me. Um,
Wow.
and so I kind of expanded my search out a ring, right? So like I'd be willing to go a little farther if I could find something.
Yeah.
Um, I found an opportunity in Waco, and that's about a 90-minute drive
Yeah.
from where I lived, and it was for a warranty manager. So it's like for that, it was pretty entry level,
Yeah.
um, and I took it, and it was like there were so few jobs. I was thankful to have an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my wife, she wanted me to stay something closer to home. Knowing that we had little babies and
Mm.
twins, but we sat down one night and talked about it, and you know, I told her, yeah, I could go work at a coffee shop or like a big box store or something like that, but there would be no future in that.
Mm-hmm.
And after we talked about that, she was supportive of the decision, and in hindsight, that is a decision that changed the trajectory of my career.
Absolutely.
Um, I never went back to home inspection. I kept the business active in the background for a number of years,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe I jumped in and out slightly, but I really never went back. And looking at that, I mean, that is totally God's plan, not mine. And I would just say, like, sometimes those biggest opportunities that we have are disguised as setbacks. I mean, it was a total setback for us to move there, start a business, and have the economy crash, right?
Yeah. I
So,
mean, were you ever thinking like maybe I should move back home? Maybe, we shouldn't have moved. Did that thought
um,
ever cross your mind?
there was a 1 year period in 2006 where we did move back, actually, but
Okay.
not. I'm sorry, not 2006. Uh, I don't know. That might be right. I don't know. 2016. I'm sorry, I'm getting it mixed up.
You,
2016. Um, yeah, we did move back for 1 year. Like, my dad was still running his business and he needed a little bit of help. And, I had a mom with some health problems. So we did for 1 year try it, and it wasn't for us. We came back to
yeah.
Texas. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you started off in a warranty position too, because then you could see, you know, you probably had great customer service skills then, So you,
Yeah.
how soon did you get into the construction side after picking up that warranty manager job?
It took me about 2 years to go from, a warranty manager role to a superintendent
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
company too, or did you have to like
Yeah. It
switch?
was the same company. Yeah.
Nice. Great. That's great. I mean, everyone kind of starts somewhere and they have their own path, into construction. So I was kind of curious to see how you ended up there, but that's great. I think that's given the timing and everything, I think you lucked out pretty well with that
Oh
role.
gosh, when I say I was so thankful to even have a job then, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I understood the landscape. I mean, people were getting laid off every day.
Yeah.
And even to have an opportunity, like, gosh, so thankful. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you started out as a warranty manager. You ended up going into construction, working as a project manager. How do you go from warranty manager to CEO of a home building company?
Yeah, I don't know that that was ever the plan, but that's kind of what happened along the way. And if I could like say like how did that happen? It's because I never outgrew being a student along the way. Um,
Mm, I love
yeah.
that.
For me, when I started in warranty, you know, I walked into that job thinking, oh, it's going to be so easy for me to go from a warranty person to a superintendent and like get that promotion because,
Mm-hmm.
I came in with a real estate background. I came in with a home inspector's license. I've been
Right.
around it my whole life. And I'm like, I know everything there is to know about homes. And I walked in the door and got humbled so fast.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's like learning a different language, right? And I did not speak it. And fortunately for me, when I stepped into that warranty role, there was a superintendent in that neighborhood that I got paired with. And, he ran all the construction. I was overseeing the warranty.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he offered me mentoring like you wouldn't believe. And, I will be forever indebted to him and grateful.
That's
Um,
that's awesome. When
yeah,
when when you say mentoring, like what did he do that was different than maybe other superintendents would do?
so we shared a small construction office in our garage of our model home, right? And um, he sat me down one day and was like, "What do you want to do?" Like, he knew my background and he knew I was frustrated, like coming into this job, like thinking I was going to be really good at it and like getting humbled.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, his question was, what do you want to do? And I just said, well, I just want to take the next step, right? Like, from warranty to superintendent, what does it take to do that? Um, and so, he said, well, then you can learn from me. And he offered me this opportunity. Like, if I'm not in a warranty call of my own, then you're in my truck, you're in my homes, you're in my office. We're talking about home building. We're talking the terminology, the language. I'm introducing you to the trades, all of these things. Um, he even went down to like every day we're going to go to lunch and we're just going to talk home building.
Wow.
And I looked at him and said, I can afford to go to lunch with you every day. I got twin babies at home, right? This
Yeah.
warranty job pays me very little
I
and I got to
know.
drive 90 minutes to work, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, you gotta pay for gas.
yeah. And he's like, no, we're going to go to lunch. I'm going to pay for it. And it's an investment in you. And, yeah, his name was Ian. I mean, if Ian ever sees this, thank you so much because I could never repay it, right?
Shout out to Ian.
Um,
That's great.
yeah,
That's that's awesome that someone would be that helpful to someone. But it sounds like you were eager, and you had an idea of
mhm.
what you wanted to do. So it seemed like he was willing to, meet you there.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely. And you don't find that everywhere you go, right?
right.
Like there
Well,
are definitely places I've worked that I wanted to say like I'm ready to take the next step, but there was no one to kind of help me along, right?
hmm.
And I had to figure it out myself. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, because there could be, people in the superintendent position that just say, "I just want to do my job. Don't make it harder on me,"
yeah,
and the person wants to learn, or the person, maybe doesn't know what they want to do, and you have a
yeah.
superintendent that wants to do this. So I'm glad it matched up.
Well,
But
I mean, for me, I say like again, I'll go back to I never outgrew being a student. So like, if I fast forward from that role, like, yeah, it took me 2 years to get, promoted from a warranty manager to a superintendent.
mm-hmm.
Um, from there, I just really never stopped raising my hand saying, I'll learn that, I'll try that, I'll do that. And in the next 7 year window, like I went from building starter homes to move up homes to semi custom homes
Mm-hmm.
to townhomes to urban infill custom homes
There you go.
to 4 story things with rooftop decks. I just kept saying, yes, I'll do it. I'll try it. And then figure it out or have someone help me. Right. And
Yeah.
so it created this opportunity, this mindset, like I'll keep trying, just created more opportunity for me and made me very well rounded, right, as a
Mm-hmm.
builder in the
Mm-hmm.
in the industry. So, um, like I eventually landed with a company that offered a growth and development program, which was amazing.
That's cool.
Not every company does that, and I was super excited about that opportunity. It took me 3 years
Mm-hmm.
to kind of separate myself, you have to get nominated to it. And then, there's a whole like interview process that you have to get like selected to it. I mean, it's very exclusive, right? Like not everybody gets to do it. So it took me 3 years to like set myself apart and earn the spot. And then once I got in, man, the opportunities there. I mean, I was being mentored by division presidents, area presidents, company VPs. I mean, it was like at that point in my career, it was like, oh, this is the next step I want to take, and I get to talk to these people. How
That's so
amazing is
cool.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
It
yeah,
kind of gives you like a vision on like where you could be, and you're getting that support. So it's probably just easier to get to that point where you're in a leadership position by being exposed and talking to those types of
yes,
people.
100%. Yeah.
And you did this. You got up to the CEO level without getting a bachelor's. I just found out you got a bachelor's
Uh,
degree like what, a month
uh,
ago?
I did. Wow. Yes. Yeah, that's not something I talked about to very many people, but
I
yeah,
had no
I mean,
idea.
Um, yeah, if I go back to Southern California, living there, yes, I went to like 2 semesters at Cal State Fullerton, and then I dropped
Hmm.
out. To me, it was I never really loved school, and so like my path was like I just want to work and join the workforce and figure it out, and so that's what I did. Fast forward to like now I'm in my 40s, and I got kids about to go into college, and I'm just like, I should really finish this because what did I show them, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, so I went back, but and over the last 2 years, I put in a lot of late nights and weekend time and after hours work, like doing classes on my own
Hmm.
um, to finish, and yes, I did like just in May, just graduated, so thank you.
It's crazy.
Um,
And you were telling me how many books you read too, and then I heard that you graduated, and I was like, were those books all for the degree? And I'm like, no way.
no, no.
I was like, he's a robot. It's
No,
like
yeah.
that's awesome.
But I never felt like that held me back, actually. Like not having a degree, you know, clearly I got to where I am today without it,
Right.
was able to. So like, first there were a handful of roles that maybe I tried to go for in my career that required that. And,
Hmm.
I had people tell me, we can't do that for you. You can't get there without it. And so a little disappointment maybe there, but
Yeah.
again, I never felt like it was holding me back in any way, and I never felt like I had to do it, but I wanted to do it to show my kids like you should finish what you start.
It
So
didn't stop you. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think that's a good example to follow through with. And I've seen builders require it, even for like an assistant super role. And
yeah,
I, not to put, too much opinion in here, but I just wasn't sure like why that was necessarily needed other than it's just, to say that all of your workforce has a degree.
yeah.
I think like,
To
go ahead.
I don't discount. Well, if I'm interviewing people, I don't discount them if they don't have that, right? Like
Hmm.
a degree, we would love it. Like I'm sure we probably put it on our like job requirements too, but if somebody sits down across the table from me and they don't have it, but they're still well spoken and they're thoughtful and they
Hmm.
can, like, you're just good people, like, I would not reject them because they don't have it. So,
Same.
yeah.
Same. That's my thoughts exactly. And then, I mean, writing now, you can just pop stuff into Claude or ChatGPT.
No, gosh. Yes.
I was working with one company. I'm like, why are all your responses so good all of a sudden? And I
That's
found out.
funny.
um, but yeah, I definitely think that, the degree is more of a, barrier than anything, but you managed to get up to this point without one and eventually getting one because, you wanted to show an example, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
Especially in a leadership role, to
Yeah.
do that with night classes, online classes, stuff like that. So,
It's been a lot the last 2 years for sure.
hmm.
Trying to like do what I do in my position today, plus that. It was a lot. So I'm
Yeah,
glad it's over. So
yeah.
yeah.
My dad got his bachelor's at night school too. He went he went for like business or something, and then he was like, I need to. It was very similar. He's like, I got to show my kids. He's like, now I got 3 boys. I got to show them,
Yep.
that I can finish something. So it's good. But thanks for that. I'm curious. I have another question here. I want to kind of stay on this. So I think that your career path is super motivating for people, whether they be earlier on in their career or maybe mid-level. What advice would you give to someone who, maybe sees themselves in a leadership role eventually in
Yeah,
construction?
a good question. Um, I would say no one owes you your growth opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I could summarize it into that, like no one owes you really anything. It's kind of really up to you to go chase these things if you're interested in them,
Mm-hmm.
and find the path. So, you know, for people interested in going that route, I would say stay hungry and never be satisfied because
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a growth mindset if you want to go from like this one rung or this one step to the next. You have to keep growing yourself along the way, or else you're going to get stuck. Um, I would say don't dwell on setbacks because for me it took me what I felt like was a really long time, 2 years to go from warranty to superintendent. It took me 10 years to go from like being a builder, quote unquote, superintendent, project manager, whatever you want to call it, in
Right.
the field to like a manager type role, 10 years. So
Jeez.
like, don't dwell on those setbacks because, they're going to be there and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it took me 3 years to go from like a manager of people in the field to a VP level. It took me 2 years to go from a VP level to the CEO level. So like that middle part was hard. That
Yeah.
10 years was tough. Um, Fortunately for me, I had a very supportive spouse that was cheering me on
Mm-hmm.
all along the way. And, always, whenever I felt like stepping out of construction, she was like, no, this is what you're good at. Keep going. Right. And so she was wonderful. Um, I would tell people find mentors because you can't do it alone, really. Like, Ian was great for me. I had other mentors along the way. He was the first. Later on the line, I had two other gentlemen that were wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those people will help you learn what you don't know yet, right? Because when you're thinking about this, you're going from this one step to the next. You don't know what you don't know at that point, and you need someone to come alongside you and help you close that gap if you want to take that step. And so, um, we talked about books for a second, but I would say be a continuous learner. For me, that was books. For other people, it could be like this, a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be YouTube, or it could be anything. But I made a conscious decision in 2014 to drop radio and TV altogether, and
Wow.
I switched to if I was at home, like there might be sports on in the background for my kids that I got boys that love sports, or when my kids were younger there could be like a Disney movie or something, but I usually had a book in my hand if I was sitting at home on the weekend or in my free time. If I was in the car, I had an audiobook going, and so it just became this constant like feeding information into my brain because this is how I could keep learning. um,
That's awesome. Did you
yeah,
say since 2015?
2014 is when I made
2014.
that decision. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Um,
Was there
lot,
anything that like caused that, or you were just like news is garbage, radio's garbage,
well, a little bit of that for sure. I was tired of news and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, I don't know, not to knock artists and creative people. Like I love music. I don't, it's not like I never listen to music anymore, but I just, I knew if I was going to go to where I wanted to go, and it was this path, that listening to music and TV was not going to take me there. I had to find my own path, especially for someone like we talked about earlier who was trying to do this without a degree,
Yeah.
right? Like I had to do some like teaching myself, right? Or other people teaching me through their knowledge of books, right?
Yeah.
That they've written. So that was my path. That was my way.
I just got chills. That's commitment, and it's I don't know. I'm not trying to be corny or whatever, but that's commitment and dedication, and I think that's what I've admired, from talking to you, where you just seem like you're very like, if you're doing something, like you're all in
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
If it's work, if it's family, um, you just seem like a very committed man.
That's that's very much my personality. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's good. It's a good quality to have. Um, I have ADHD. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll read this book. I'll get one chapter in, and then I kick myself, and then I'm back at it. But
Yeah.
I wish I was a little bit more focused. Um, I had a question more on the family home side, if you don't
Go. Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. Go for it.
How have you created that, like that? Everyone talks about like work life balance or whatever, but it sounds like when you made that move to Austin, your wife was like extremely supportive, and you had a family, and you were like really taking a lot at work, but also
Yeah.
trying to be a dad and a husband at the same
Yeah.
time, and all of it you're trying to be exceptional at. Um, how did you how did you do that on the family side?
Hmm. When we made the decision to move and leave, like I'm telling you, we left everybody and everything we knew behind. And not that we like left them behind. We're still like, still go visit them and see. But it
Right.
was like, I looked at the market and said, if I'm going to go start a home inspection business, it needs to go be in Austin, Texas, because
Mm-hmm.
in 2007, 2008, it was really the best market to be in before everything stopped, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe
And
it. Yeah.
then as we came out of that and into home building, it was absolutely the best market to be in for home building for a number of years. Maybe not today, but for a number of years it was. And like there was no better place. So for us, it was we got to go here because it's going to be what propels us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we made that decision, it was me, my wife, and my two boys at the time. We later added my daughter a couple of years later, but um, because it was just us, right? We had no extended family. We didn't know people when we first moved. I mean, we became like the tightest little family unit because we only had us. And I think that really played a huge part in all of this. Um, you know, she's always been supportive because it's always just been us against the world kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
That's super
and
cool.
our kids like very much have this kind of mentality now too, kind of growing up in it. Like they're going to go conquer the world for whatever they're going to go do. Um, I don't know. For me, like I don't know how to do this stuff any other way, whether it's work, whether it's home, whether it's my marriage, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's my kids. Like, like you said, like I'm all in for all of it. I mean, at work, like my team knows that I'm all in for them and their success and whatever it takes. At home, it's the same. Like I don't know how to turn that off, right? Like I
Yeah.
don't know if I could teach someone else how to do that. It's just that's how I'm wired.
Yeah.
So
Does it
yeah.
get tiring after a little bit, or sometimes I'll wake up at like midnight and I'm like, did I mean to put that LinkedIn post out? I'll like, and my wife's like, you gotta chill out, like you gotta calm
Yeah.
down. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to say anything stupid, and she's like, you
I'll
gotta
tell you
shut
the one
off.
time I felt tired like about this at work
Mm-hmm.
was in 2020, like during COVID, because I cared so much about my team.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I gotta make sure you don't die, right? Like, I mean, like we didn't know. Like early on in COVID, we had no idea,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so, like, I mean, I'm driving all over Austin trying to find masks and gloves and hand sanitizer. I mean, I'm like people at the stores were like looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm filling my cart because I'm trying to care for 20 people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Um,
They thought you were a hoarder.
yes, exactly. But it wasn't that. I was like trying to make sure they were taken care of, right?
Yeah.
Like, at
Wow.
the end of the day, I wanted them to make sure they could get home to their family. So I think really maybe one of the only times that this made me tired at work was this
Hmm.
when I had to like care for my people during a pandemic. That was awful.
Yeah, and
So,
that's huge, and that's something that like no one tells you about. There's no
oh, you can't
mentorship
train
with
for that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not in a
yeah.
book. Yeah.
No. Well, it is now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Here's what to do in a hire in a
Mm,
pandemic. Yeah, no, that's good. It's really it really shows a lot. Seriously. I mean, you don't really COVID was 6 years ago. It feels like it might have been 20 years ago, but um the fact that you're adaptable too, to that, and you really care about a lot of the people that you um, interface with on a day-to-day basis really says a lot.
yeah,
And I'm sure the environment is probably a good one for them to be in too. So
yeah,
um, I wanted to talk about the difference between production and custom or luxury home building
yeah,
because um, it's interesting. I'll see people go from luxury or custom to production, and then they'll go maybe the other way, or maybe some will go from single family to commercial or something. They might do like tenant improvement stuff, or they might do ground up, which they'll need mentoring for that, it seems like, you know depending on their background. But I just wanted to know the biggest differences between production and custom in luxury
yeah,
home building.
yeah. I've been on both sides of this. Fortunately in my career.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they're different games, right? Like they're not one is not better than the other or worse. They're just different, right? And
Yeah.
um, I think it from my seat, like where I sit today, the hardest part on the custom side is finding talent.
Yeah.
Um, we have a lot of good people on my team. When we want to add a new person, it might take me 6 months. And I know because you've helped me, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard to find the right person that can fit into the custom side because the attention to detail, like the level of expectation from the client is so great um, that it's just hard to find that right person.
Mm-hmm.
You
It
need to
matters.
have someone with experience, right? Like I can't take an entry level person and plug them into a $5 million job. I just can't,
No.
right? And so I
You
absolutely could
could.
in production home building. I could,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I could take a person off the street and like have them in 6 months building a home. On
Right.
custom, I cannot do that. And so the finding the talent is really hard. Um, I think it's also really hard to find the trade partners, right? So
Yeah.
Cullen Construction, I mean, we've been in business since 1953,
Mm-hmm.
and many of our trade partners are generational, right? Like, this is a third generation business. Like, for them, like their great grandfather might have started the masonry business
Mm-hmm.
or the painting company, and so like it's a family trade that's passed down, and you find that a lot on the custom side, and you
Yeah.
don't maybe so much on the not that it doesn't exist, but maybe not so much on the production side, right?
I could
And
see
so
that.
it's just this they're different games, right? They're not better or worse, just different. And it's not a knock on production. I mean, I love production home building. It's where I started. My favorite, segment of that is the first time buyer, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I loved that when I was
It's
a builder.
exciting.
It was my favorite client, right? And um, so
It's
there's a
meaningful. Yeah.
huge need for production home buildings. I know so many great production home builders. It's a different game, and trying to cross over is a challenge. It's not impossible. I did it, but it's a challenge. I think of this from like sports. How many sports figures do you know that are two sport professionals, right?
Not a lot.
Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, um,
Mookie
you know,
Betts.
Mookie Betts with bowling, right? Thank you for the Dodgers shout out. Um,
Yep.
Shohei Ohtani plays two different positions. but there's not, that's four people right there off the top of our heads. There's not really many in history. And like, I think about it like that, right? There's not a lot of people going back and forth
Hmm.
between these two sides because you get really good at one and then it's hard to jump to the other. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, the situation I'm kind of thinking of when you talk about that is like if someone owns their own, custom home, right? And they've been living in that for a while, they'll probably want to like speak to someone and say, "Hey, I get this idea. Maybe I have these ideas. Can I do this?" Where production, I feel like, is like, okay, we just put up like the 70th house in this neighborhood
mhm,
exactly to this plan. We know what we're doing. We're not really talking to the
100%.
owner that much. So that's, I think, the
Yeah.
main difference I thought of.
100%. In production home building, like you get really good at building these specific plans, so much so that you end up like with this one set of plans. It's like, I built this 80 times, but here's all the red lines for it, right?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
exactly.
In
Exactly.
custom, I will never see the same home twice,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, Seth, with hiring, what qualities do you look for when hiring PMs, supers, and others?
Yeah. Um, I like to hire for what I think is attitude over talent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I always say we could always train anybody to do anything, but you can't train them on attitude.
You
People
can't.
inherently just come to your organization with that, whatever it is, right? And so you got to find the right attitude to introduce, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm interviewing or looking for someone, I like to look for people that are growth oriented and hungry. I mean, that I gravitate towards that. I mean, that's kind of how I achieved in my career, right? So to me, it seems easy to spot when you're sitting in front of somebody like that. Um, I love hiring readers. I mean, we've talked about reading quite a bit today, but
I'm
you know,
surprised.
yeah, bigger vocabulary, sharper thinking, better communicators, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in an interview setting, I always ask, "What's your favorite book?"
Yep.
Um, and number one, I just want to know because if there's a book I should add to my reading list, then that's great.
Yeah.
Maybe I've never heard of it. If they say a book that I've read, then I can ask them a couple of questions and see if they've really read it. Um, and
Smart.
and if you give me like the stock answer of like I read the Odyssey when I was in high school, like
Yeah.
I know you're not a reader and
Tale of Two
you probably
Cities.
haven't picked up a book since high school, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it, but like you're probably not making it past my first round. Um, you know,
That's
um,
funny. That's a good one, though.
I
Good
have
catch.
in construction, I have like a signature question that I always ask. Um, and I can't take credit for it. It was given to me by a mentor, but what's your definition of quality?
Ooh,
Oh, it's
that's a good
so
one.
hard. It's so hard to answer. So the
Oh,
key on this one, and hopefully I'm not giving it away here, but here we go. Uh,
okay.
there's
Okay.
no wrong answer to this question. Okay. Like it doesn't matter what you say in that moment. It's really all about answering. Um, Without fail, every single person that I ask this question to will do exactly what you just did and go, oh, because their brain just got hit with a ton of bricks
Right.
and they don't know what to say.
It's a
And
curve.
so
It's a
it
curveball
gets
to
them
me.
uncomfortable. It gets them uncomfortable. Every single person asks me to rephrase it. Doesn't matter. Every time. Can you say that in a different way? Can you give? I think they're trying to buy time
Oh,
to
yeah.
try to come up with an answer, but I never do. I never rephrase it. I just repeat the question. What's your definition of quality? For me,
Okay.
this tests two things with people. Number one, how do you define quality is a great question in
Yeah.
construction.
Yeah, it is.
And it can kind of lead me into their perspective of how they might deliver a home or, you know, um, based on our definition of quality as an organization, like
Mm.
can they meet that, those types of things. That's great. The second part is though, can you communicate under an intentionally uncomfortable question, right? That is more a key for me. uh,
Oh,
right? Like, are you going to sit there and struggle and really, really, like, I mean, just like right now, like, oh my gosh, I can't get the words out, right? Or are you going to give me a concise answer that makes sense? It doesn't matter what you say. You could say quality is 90-degree corners, or quality is level and square, or quality is, I don't know what. I mean, I've heard 1,000 answers over the years, right? Um, but can you give me an answer without
Be-
struggling?
because when you ask them what is quality, you're almost putting them in a real life scenario in front of a client that's asking a question that's uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
It's
so,
more, this is telling me more about them and how they operate than anything, any question I'm going to ask that day.
dang.
So, what's your definition of quality? It's a powerful question. Um, I ask that on every single interview. It doesn't even matter what role I'm interviewing for. I could be interviewing the estimator or the sales consultant or the builder.
Could be
Like,
anybody.
yeah, what's your definition of quality? Um, Last thing I'll say on this topic is I like to look at people from the lens of culture fit, um, and The Ideal Team Player is the book that's great on this. It defines people as smart, humble, and hungry. Smart being people smarts, emotional
Mm-hmm.
IQ, not necessarily book or educational, right? Smarts, but emotional IQ.
Mm-hmm. Super
Humble
important.
is pretty self-explanatory, and then hungry. If you can get all three of those in a candidate for your team, that's a powerful person that you're going
Mm-hmm.
to add.
Yeah.
If you can imagine a team full of ideal team players, people that are smart, humble, hungry, willing to raise their hand and say, "Where do you need me today? How can I help?" Those types of things. Um, that's a team that won't lose, and that's the team that I'd like to try to build.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
every single candidate, when they walk out the door, I kind of write my notes: smart, humble, hungry. Do they check the box? Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever hired someone who checks those boxes and then later doesn't?
People can change for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Been there.
People can change along the way. Yes, you could have a candidate that checks the box in front of you, checks the box for a couple of years, and something in their life changes, something in their situation changes. Again, that goes back to try to hire for attitude before talent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, attitude is what they bring to the equation every single day. I cannot influence it. It doesn't, I can't, doesn't matter what I pay them, what kind of bonus, what kind of job. I can't influence the attitude you bring into the door, into the building every single day. That's only you.
Right.
So if I could find people that have positive attitude, good attitude, whatever you want to call it, up
Mm-hmm.
front, you know, we're more likely to win on those people than we are to lose. But things, like you said, can change. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. I was just curious. I'm like, I've been there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and those ones sting because you're like, man, I really thought that was the person, and
Yeah.
when they go the other way, you're like, what did I miss? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you start thinking like I started thinking like what could I have done differently, and sometimes it's just, like you said, a period in their life.
you never know what's
Um,
going on.
you never
Yeah,
know. You
yeah,
never know.
and sometimes you might know, and you can help affect it if
Mm-hmm.
they're open with you, and um, but yeah, sometimes you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's very helpful. Seth, how do you attract and retain talent in a competitive job market?
So that's a good question. I think that people will stay where they feel like they can grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. Um, in the interview process, like, early on, um, I like to let the candidates see our team in action. I don't want to just bring a candidate in and put him in a conference room or her in a conference room and like then let them leave, right? I,
Right.
I want them to see our team in action. So a buzzing office is usually ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will give them a tour of our office. If they've made it through like in our process, we do like an HR like person screening call, and
Mm-hmm.
then we do a virtual interview with me, and then we bring them into the office. But when we bring them for that meeting, um, I give them the full tour of the place. I want them to see people working, being excited, doing their job. Um, or if it's not the office, we take them to a job site. We could do an interview like on a job site, like people are working, things are happening. They get a chance to talk to somebody else that works here. I think that's helpful for someone, and when they're like considering where to go, other companies, things like that. I think most companies today, I mean, we all have the same perks or whatever you want to call it. I mean,
Right.
pay, bonus, day one health, 401k match. I mean, it's so hard to differentiate. We're all doing the same stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
ESOP is a little newer, but
yeah, yeah,
it's similar to 401k.
yeah. Our one of our differentiators is flexible time off, and
Ooh.
I think that's not common in construction, which is why we decided to do it. We wanted to retain top talent and find top talent, and so we decided to switch 2 years ago to a flexible time off policy. So we do not track
FTO.
days. Yep, we do not track days. You do not accrue time, anything like that. There's no use it or lose it. It is really a model of take time when you need it. There are reasonable guardrails built in where it
Mm-hmm.
says, we tell people you can't take 30 days off in a row, or where, you can't take every Friday off. Like, you got to have some reasonable conversations with your manager about what's going on, and you got to make sure someone can cover for you. But other than that, you need some time off, take it. You got to go see grandma, great. You need to go to the hospital, do it. You need to like take care of your sick kid, fine. We're all adults here, and for us, well received so far.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Pretty minimal, what I would quote unquote abuse of the policy so far.
That's great.
Really, I find with this policy, I have to push people to take time off. Like, yeah, I do every 6 months, I pull a report that says, what have we done? And I get people that have taken no time or a day in a 6 month window. And I'm going to them and saying, I think you need a break.
Wow.
So, and I think that this is maybe a differentiator for us again, because I don't know many construction companies in our industry that have anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No.
yeah,
No. And I've seen some that have they'll lump the vacation and sick time together, which is nicer,
yeah,
than, because you're not going to call out sick on the, you know, after the Eagles win the Super Bowl or whatever,
yeah,
that's, but, I think that that's good with the parameters because there's some downsides, as you would probably know, where people either aren't taking the time or maybe they're taking too much time or maybe they feel like they can't take, maybe they have they're awkward in the gray area, like they don't know
Oh,
what
when we first
where
introduced
they
this, it
fall.
was weird for the team, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think they struggled to comprehend what this is.
Well, because where's the
Um,
line of I deserve this time off and I'm lazy,
yes,
you know?
yes, yes. But I think if I pull the reports, it's showing me that I have to encourage them to take time off more often than not. So, yeah, I think the last thing I would say about this is create growth opportunities, not just promotions.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I'll go back to people will stay where they feel like they can grow.
Yeah.
Um, you know, a lot of people want to be promoted. Um, not
Yeah.
everybody, not everybody wants to be promoted, but a lot of
This
people
is
do.
true.
But I think the bigger thing here is creating growth for people. And so that's where, my mindset of always paying attention to what's going on in my office, listening, being around, hearing what they're talking about, hearing what they're struggling with. I can pull somebody in and give them a book like we've talked about, or, have a personal conversation at any time. Um, you know, it, some level of this has to be like, even if you're not available for a promotion, do you feel like you have opportunity to grow here? I'm
Right.
just inherently that kind of person. So like, I introduce that into our culture,
Mm-hmm.
where I think a lot of our team members feel like, even if it's not I don't know, maybe in the next year there's not a path for a promotion for me, but I know that because I've got Seth here and our culture, like, we have growth opportunity as a person, right? Um, so I'm challenging people all the time. Like, we do quarterly goals, we bonus people on those types of things. Your goal could be, I want to give you this book and read it, or I want to see you improve on X, Y, or Z. That's maybe not even your job, right? Like, maybe it's, I want you to improve on effective communication
Right.
or
Right.
something else. Like, it might not be, I want you to go like build this home faster, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, those are great points, Seth. Those are really I love the detail in your answers. It's definitely refreshing for me to hear. um, Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I really
You're
do.
welcome.
What would you say are some common misconceptions people have about either production home building or custom home building?
Yeah, great question. I think that a misconception that many people have is that production automatically equals lower quality. Um,
Ooh,
I find that to be false. I mean, some of personally my best work was on the production side,
yeah.
and I know a lot of guys uh, that either worked for me or that I just knew in the industry in production that delivered beautiful homes on the production side. So it doesn't have. I mean, there's a stigma there. It can equal lower quality, right? But if
Mm-hmm.
you get the right builder that's paying attention and has that eye for detail, they'll deliver you a beautiful home, even if it's production, right?
Right.
Um, I think we just talked about this, but I think another one might be that you can't cross over. You can, but it's rare, right?
True.
And if you're going to do that, it takes rewiring of your brain and your process
Yeah.
because if you're on the production side, you are built for speed, right? And you cannot do that on the custom side because you will blow through something that was important to somebody or miss something, right? And if you're going the other way, like you are so dialed into the attention to detail that it'll be a struggle for you to like speed that up so that you can meet the production like timelines that you have to meet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really this rewiring of your brain if you're going to jump back and forth. That's not easy. If I ever hire someone right now from the production side, on the custom side currently, I always have to tell them it's going to be a struggle for you because you're going to have to relearn your process, right?
Right.
And just upfront with them about that from day one. Um, I think
Well,
lastly, like custom, I think has maybe this connotation that it's always multi-million, right?
true. That's true too.
And it doesn't have to be. I think that's very false. At Cullen Construction, we deliver a lot of homes that or projects that are in the 400 to 800 range,
Mm-hmm.
or dip into the 300s even sometimes. And those are custom projects for people. It might not be the full home. Maybe we're redoing your bathroom because we can do remodel and things like that as part of a custom process. But um, so I think there's just maybe this misconception that you hear the word custom and it's like a $3 to $5 million project. It doesn't have to be. It could be 300,000. That's a very
Mm-hmm.
nice bathroom, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
you could get a $300,000 home in some markets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
In
yeah.
some, I guess I had a misconception when I guess like as I started recruiting, my misconception was that custom home building was all new builds,
Ah,
and I
yeah,
thought that it wasn't occupied too.
yeah.
Um,
That's a good one.
so that could be a challenge too, because if you go from like building a whole bunch of new houses that are almost all the same,
Yeah.
and then you're working with someone who's like living in their house and you're working on their house while
hmm
they're living in it, that's probably challenging too.
Talking about rewiring your brain, I moved from a market, Austin, Texas, where everything is brand new, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they're just everywhere you look, you see new communities. And I moved here to the Philadelphia area. Everything is old. I mean, we are working on homes that were built in the 1700s, which is wild. And so I've had to like, over the last 2 years of being here with Cullen, like I've had to kind of rewire my brain of process and construction thinking and what needs to go in what sequence because we're touching homes that were here when George Washington was walking around, right?
That's
So
wild.
yeah,
That's wild to me.
yeah.
Um, that's funny. Well, I grew up next to Salem, Massachusetts, so a lot of the homes there were part of the historical society too. So there was like
hmm
certain things you could and couldn't do
Yep.
when renovating. So I don't know if you bump into that too, but
All the time.
oh
All
really?
the time.
Wow,
Yep. Yep.
that's cool. Added step. At least you're not digging and finding things, so that's
No.
good. Uh, well, those are some great points. Had another question, but we might have already covered it. It's what skills translate well between the two sectors of production and custom?
Yeah. Short answer on that one. I mean, I would think it comes down to attention to detail, communication, and leadership of your
Mm-hmm.
of your of your project, right? Doesn't matter which side you're on. If you have an eye for detail, if you can communicate well with your clients, with your team, with your vendors and trades, if you can lead the job site through whatever's going to happen along the way, you'll be fine. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
that's a good answer. That's solid. That's solid advice. I wanna go back to hiring because I know you mentioned that hiring, is tough, especially for the industry that you're in that geography too. Um, how's hiring changed since you started in home building?
Hmm. Yeah. That's a great question. Um, I think a lot of times hiring used to just be led by the specific hiring manager,
Mm-hmm.
right? And maybe there wasn't a recruiter involved, or maybe an HR team wasn't really part of the process. And so, today I think that, there's these layers have been added, and not that they're good or bad, but there's just layers, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
typically you start now with an HR team that has, you know, written the job description and posted it, and now they're doing some level of screening of candidates. Sometimes that's an AI tool that's evaluating resumes, and you get kicked out, right? Just for
Yep.
whatever reason. Um, and I think that because there's now these layers, as a candidate, it takes longer for you to get to the actual decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's good in theory, but tough on the candidates, right? Because it's
I would
slower.
agree.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially when, I mean, I'm sure you follow the news and the industry and stuff, but especially when some of these larger builders are like consolidating or merging,
Hmm.
I think that the larger companies are, the more of like a disconnect there is between, going for the job and getting the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's more hurdles, I
Yeah.
think.
It takes you forever to talk to the person that's actually going to make the decision on whether you're joining the team or not, right? So
Yeah, and some
yeah.
companies are very aware of that and they do very well with shortening the process, but there's others, where they contact the person and the person's like, I applied for that 3 months ago. I'm already like 2 months into this new job.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So as an industry, we might miss opportunities with good people because of these layers. I don't know.
it's
Yeah.
possible. It's
Yeah.
possible. Um, I don't know your answer for this one, but I'm curious. What separates average performers from top performers?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Um, I think what separates people is that improvement and growth is a daily choice
Mm-hmm.
for the top performers. Um, I think it comes down to their internal drives to win, to want to be a top performer and not be average.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a sports guy. I'm an LA sports guy because I grew up there. So sorry to your Boston Celtics.
Oh
I'm
no.
gonna I'm gonna quote Kobe Bryant right
Oh
now.
no, I can't hear
Um,
this. No, no, no.
he's my
We'll put it
favorite.
on there.
He's
He's
my favorite. But
he's
he's
great.
got a great quote that actually hangs in my office at work, and it says that his Mamba mentality whole
Mm-hmm.
thing. It
Mm-hmm.
it says it's the constant quest to try to be better today than you were yesterday, and better tomorrow than you were the day before.
Yeah.
So top performers, I think, live that.
Mm-hmm.
They understand it. They live it out, and I think average performers don't even try. So yeah.
I'd agree with you, and as much as I don't love LA sports, I think Kobe's a great example of someone who really he's just exceptional.
Yeah.
He's just extremely good at what he did, and he was because he was committed. And every
Hmm.
day he showed up and gave it his best and tried to do better than the day
Put in
before.
the work every day. Yep. Yep.
You got any Tom Brady quotes? I'm just
I
kidding.
don't. Sorry. I'm a Buffalo Bills guy, so
Oh
don't ask
no.
me how that happened. But
uh,
At Cullen,
I
we
gotta
have
screen these people before I ask them to be on this. I'm
at
just
Cullen,
kidding.
we got a handful of core values. I want to tell you about one,
Yeah,
and um, we call it find a way.
that's a
And
good
that
one.
one says the path to success isn't always straightforward. We are resourceful and determined, always seeking solutions and forging new paths to overcome obstacles and deliver to the highest standard. So, going back to your question, like top performers find a way. They
Hmm.
find a way to deliver on time, on budget, with happy clients, etc. And they don't allow things like setbacks or roadblocks to hinder their success.
Hmm.
Um, and I
Yeah.
can't take credit for that because there's a story behind this one. Do you know? Uh, do you know the story of Hannibal from history? He's a general.
No.
Okay, I'll give you the quick version. Um, Around ancient Roman times, he was from Carthage, which is just across the sea there from Rome,
Hmm.
and he was a general, and he wanted to go attack Rome, and he knew that uh, the best way to do it was to get in his ships, sail across, direct shot right into Rome. But he also knew that they would see him coming, and
Mm.
so it was not the best route. And so instead, he took his army and he marched all the way up and around to the top of Italy
Oh wow.
to where the Alps are, right? And so he's got this giant army of people, and all of his advisors, other generals, whatever, they're all telling him, you can't take all these people over the Alps. Like we're all gonna die, or what, right? Like
Yeah. It's the Alps.
he's got war elephants, right, back then, and things like elephants have never seen snow and things
Yeah.
like. And so they're all like, this is not gonna happen. It's impossible. And he
Yeah,
just
that's
says,
wild.
I will find a way or make one. And that's where this comes from because he actually took him over the mountains, through the Alps, through the north of Italy, and he tormented Rome for the next 10 years.
Wow.
He never actually won. He didn't defeat Rome, but he accomplished what he wanted to, tormented Rome for the next 10 years. I will find a way or make one. That's where this comes from. I've used this with various teams over the years,
Yep.
and it's powerful, I think.
I
If you
think
can get
so.
people thinking in a way of find a way through that obstacle. We work in construction. Every day is going to present some sort of roadblock in front of you.
Right.
And if you're a person that's like, you know, shrinks at that, you're not going to have success. If you're a person that can find a way through those things, and it could be through, it could be over, it could be
Hmm.
under,
Hmm.
whatever it is, as long as it's ethical, like, yeah, you're going to be
Right.
successful. So,
And
yeah,
then imagine a whole team like that too.
yep. That's why it's part of our
That's
core
cool.
values. Yep.
That's cool. I think it's cool that you guys have core values too that you like mention and they're not something that just kind of sits at the bottom of a pile somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I in our office I place this, everybody says don't let it just hang on the wall, right? Like literally put it on the wall. It's the first thing you see when you walk through our front doors. Our clients see it, our partners see it, all of our team members have to see it like
Wow.
right when they walk in the door. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's great.
And I
Uh,
ask them about it every once in a while. Because I got to make sure they're not just walking by it and like, don't know what they are.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a good practice. I love that. Um, I have a few questions on industry and leadership. Uh, what what challenges do you see facing the home building industry in the next 5, 10 years?
Well, you mentioned AI earlier. I'm going to go to that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think a common answer for a lot of people in our industry are going to be labor shortages, economy, housing bubbles, people retiring, younger generation maybe not interested. I mean, those are all valid. Um,
True.
to me, what is how will AI reshape what we do? I think it's a wild unknown right now. Um,
Yeah.
we tried some AI tools for some back office like estimating type work.
Mm-hmm.
Little test. We ran an internal test. I gave a set of plans to my team and said, go estimate this. And then We uploaded that same set of plans to an AI platform
Uh-huh.
and, gave it all kinds of prompts. Here's where we're at. Here's the market. Here's what we're scheduled that we're looking for. These types of vendors, luxury, custom construct,
Yeah.
all these things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the AI budget was $2 million more than my team's budget. So it's not quite there, right? It's maybe not there, but I think it's going to improve. And man, I mean, it took my team, 3, 4 weeks to come up with that number where, the AI tool gave it to us in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So if that can refine, man, how fast can we turn out some estimates to some people and things
Mm-hmm.
like that? And not that it's going to do away with my estimating team because we have to, clearly there's some work to do on this, but if we can get faster at that, I mean, how many more jobs can we do in a
Yeah.
year or, and
You could bid
things
on
like that.
so many
Yeah.
more projects and win so many more.
Yes. Yes. So I
Yeah.
think, I'm very interested to watch how companies will embrace AI.
Mm-hmm.
And, to me, it's kind of fascinating. Um, I don't know, we're probably similar age, like of the generation that's watched so much change in our lifetime in technology,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
this is just the next iteration of that. I mean, um, and I think we all just kind of be, I don't know, short-sighted to discount it and not give it a try, um, and see what it can do. Although it does scare me sometimes
I
with what
know.
it can do. So
I know. I
yeah,
know. Well, did
yeah.
pagers scare you? I don't think pagers scared me that much,
No,
but
no.
yeah.
I had a pager. We're aging ourselves now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. We'll cut that out. No. What? Uh, I already asked. What advice would you give to the next generation? Um,
I'll do that one again.
yeah, I mean, what
I got,
advice would you give to the next generation entering construction?
yeah. I, I would, best thing I could say is become obsessed with learning. Um,
Yeah.
you got to learn and grow beyond whatever your company offers. And I mentioned this earlier. I did this, like find your path to your own development. Lots of companies are going to offer, um, development programs, and those are great, and you should take advantage of them if you can get into them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you can't, you got to find your own path. This is the find a way thing we were talking about, right?
Right.
And so, you know, become obsessed with learning. Um, for me and my journey, like mentorship was so important. I had those couple of guys that were amazing, and helped me so much. You, let's say, let's say you're a builder today and you're like, you're in a builder meeting, you got a room of 40 other guys or girls that you're sitting in there with. And I mean, gosh, you got to look around that room and say, who's the best? Is
Right.
it you? Because it might not be. And if it isn't, like, you need to go talk to the person that is. Invite them to coffee or take them to lunch and
Mm-hmm.
ask them if you could pick their brain. In my experience in my career, those people want to share their knowledge with you.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for somebody to ask for it, right? Um, and if they don't want to share your knowledge, go to the person that's the next best because they want to share their knowledge with
Mm-hmm.
you, right?
Yeah.
Like you just got to find that person, and lean into them and go to a couple coffees or lunches, like I said, like learn from them.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
I would add, I would
yeah,
add that age, they don't have to be older than you for that
hmm,
to happen. Um,
not at all.
I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, like the old and wise or whatever. But I'm like, I know a bunch of people that are younger than me that know way more about certain things that I don't know about. And I could learn
Yeah,
so much from them. So
I'm a 43-year-old CEO, so
yeah,
like, I mean, that's wild to me. I mean, uh, age doesn't matter. I, you know, so
it doesn't. It
yeah.
doesn't. Well, because
Um, Go ahead.
oh no, you just think like, oh yeah, CEOs are like, 60,
Yeah,
that's what I would think, 60, 70. But I think that's awesome.
yeah. Um, I don't know, a couple other things I would give advice for these people. I mean, if you're pursuing leadership, I would go to your current leadership team and ask if you could sit down with them.
Mm-hmm.
That is hard to do. You have to be vulnerable. Because what I'd advise you to do is to ask. what's holding me back from taking a next step? Or where do you think I need to develop to take a next step? Because those people are already there. And
Right.
so, if you want to be on their radar and if you want to be like top of mind for the next position that opens up, like start asking them what you need to do and then go do those things. Remove those objections. You'll never know if you don't ask though. And that's a vulnerable thing to do. It's hard. I've done it. It's uncomfortable. They may give you things that you never thought about working on though. And you got to go then chase those.
Yeah.
Um, we talked about reading earlier. I want to go back to that. I mean, it's worth going back to because to me it was powerful. So I came today with a few stats for you for reading.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So 40% of adults read 0 books a year. That's wild.
40% read zero
0 books.
books. Wow.
Half of Americans read fewer than 3 books a year. So if you want to call the top 4% people that read more than 50 books a year, call them super readers. They
Yeah.
account for nearly half of all books read nationwide, the top 4%.
Whoa.
Um, if you were to read 5 books a year, that would put you ahead of roughly 2/3 of the population, just five.
And that's
And
America. That's the United States.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then last one, studies show that if you could go to 10 books a year, you would earn about 21% more than a non-reader in your career.
Heck
So
yeah.
it's worth it. It's worth it, right? Like, I mean, to me, it was a game changer. So many benefits. Talking about stats, but reading has shown that it enhances memory,
Mm-hmm.
sharpens focus,
Mm-hmm.
it prevents cognitive decline, it helps reduce stress and blood pressure, which we have a lot of in our industry.
Yep.
It builds vocabulary and communication skills. It boosts empathy and emotional IQ. So, yeah.
You're so prepared. I love this. I love this. So how I think that's great advice, but how can someone who doesn't read any books
Yeah.
in a year go
Hmm.
from 0 to 1 or 0 to 2 or 0 to 3? Because I don't know what type of books you're reading. Are you reading like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad? Are you reading Harry Potter? Are you reading Narnia? What are you reading? Is it a
Okay.
mix?
Great question. Earlier in my career, I was very heavily focused when I decided to start reading,
Mm-hmm.
very heavy focus on personal development and leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And again, that's where I wanted to go. So that's where I narrowed my focus to.
Right.
Now, later in my career, still read those kind of books often. I now mix in some fiction just to keep
Mm-hmm.
things interesting because at some point when you've read as many books as I have, they all sound the same at some point, right? You still get some good nuggets, but
Right.
leadership and development books for me probably all sound very similar at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I still read them, right? Um, what did we talk about? I started reading in 2014, right?
Yep.
And so I've read 1,032 books.
You've read how many books since 2014?
1,032.
1,032 books.
Yeah.
I
When
can't
I
believe that.
and you asked like how did someone start, right? So the first year I decided to start reading, like turn the TV off, turn the radio off. I'm going to read regularly. I read 17 books that year. Um,
17.
and it's just really you got to have a level of commitment to pick it up and do it, right? To pick it up and follow through. To if you're not working or if you're not with your family, if
Mm-hmm.
you've got your personal downtime, it cannot be scrolling on Instagram, doom scrolling, whatever it is, right?
Right.
It can't
Right.
be YouTube, it can't be TV, it can't be. I mean, it has to be this laser focus into I'm developing me, and so that first year was 17. I peaked a couple of years into this at 160.
17.
I have read over 107 times. Um, yeah, it's powerful in those years and since 2014. So I have been promoted or moved up in my career 6 times.
And
And reading is not the only reason, right? But it
right.
is really, I think, to me, it's the game changer of what set me apart because it became my unfair advantage. If you go back to those stats, right? Like if I'm reading 100 books a year,
Mm-hmm.
the builder next to me in the room has read zero,
Right.
right?
Right.
Probably, right? And
Probably.
so, or maybe they've read one or two, but I just read 100. So, and not that 100 has to be the goal. Like there are
No.
definitely years that I read 40 and 17 is where I started, but I kind of got into this pace where, it was like 100 every year for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, I'll say it became my unfair advantage over my competition that I was trying to climb the ladder against, right?
Um, who reads more than you do?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you don't
mean,
know.
I'm sure someone, I'm sure someone,
I'm like, there's
yeah,
gotta be some like Rocky Schwarzenegger thing going. Like maybe you're competing against someone, but
yeah.
no, this is just you.
You know what's interesting? I read this many years ago, probably around the time I started, that CEOs regularly read 100 books a year. And I don't know, maybe that got locked in my brain somewhere that I'm like, I should try this. I never
Maybe.
intended to go down this road to become a CEO, but here I am. Um, but yeah, I read that somewhere like probably in 2014. CEOs read 100 books a year regularly. Like that's not,
Wow.
um, yeah. So
Well, good thing I
I'm at four. Let me look real quick. I keep a little log. 42 right now in 2026.
42 and it's July 10th,
Yeah.
26. So you'll be just under 100 by Christmas.
Yeah. Or I could read some shorter books and push my number up.
Good thing my title's president, not
Yeah,
CEO. So
that's funny.
no, this is super motivating. I think not only for the people here, but for me. Um, I'll read books like 1984. Like I might read like some like alien
Mhm.
books, or I might read some like personal development books too. Um, but I feel like I always like I'll start, and then I'll start another one, and then I'll start another one, and I just have a
Mhm.
hard time like finishing the
Yeah.
book. But I always have to go back because they're on my desk. They're on my nightstand.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's not out of the question for me to be reading multiple books at the same time.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would, you know, I do have one on my nightstand right now.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I'm listening to one on Audible. And, you
Wow.
know, the other day, I had a team member where we's like, I'm always thinking about books and self-development. So I had a team member that was struggling with something. And I was like, oh, I got a book. Pulled it off my shelf, handed it to him. I want to be able to talk to him about it. So like I've read it before, but I want to
Mm-hmm.
refresh. So I
Mm-hmm.
stopped the Audible book I was reading, switched over to that one so I can refresh my memory so we can talk about it together.
That's great.
Um, but yeah, and like I said, it doesn't all have to be personal development. If you want to go down this leadership path,
Mm-hmm.
you should do personal development and leadership. But you know, I mean, I love Sherlock Holmes. Right? One of my sons bought me a really cool Sherlock Holmes book as a gift that I love.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite book series. But there are other like leadership and development books that I think I read, once a year or every other year, even though I've read
Mm-hmm.
it before,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just refreshing
Keep it
in my
fresh.
mind. Yeah,
I love that. I love that. And do you prefer like audiobooks or do you prefer paper or Kindle?
I mean, I got a bookshelf behind me, right? Like
Yeah.
I love having the book um, because I do like having books in my hand, but I find that it's easier with my schedule, my life, things like that to do
Mm-hmm.
audiobooks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Driving is like where I can listen to because it's such wasted time, right? If you're just driving around with the radio on, it's such wasted time. I could be learning something new. I always have an audiobook on when I'm driving around.
That's so
Um,
true. That's so true because I've like heard the same song like if it's Pearl Jam or something. I'm like I've heard this already.
yeah,
Like
yeah. And if you're talking like, sales consultants, builders in the field, land development people, I mean, how many of us have like commutes or I got to drive from
oh
one community to
everyone.
another? Like it's that time can be filled with like opportunity if you
Mm-hmm.
don't miss it.
Yeah.
So,
I knew one guy that had a 5 minute drive from his house to the community, but that was it. Like after
yeah.
that, it was way more than that. But this is so cool, Seth. I don't think I've ever met someone who's read so much before and like thought it was like that important. And I think that it played a factor in you becoming a
Oh,
CEO
it did.
at 40,
Absolutely did.
in your early 40s. So,
Well, if you think about it, I dropped out of college,
mm-hmm.
and this was my way to substitute learning, right?
True.
Until
True.
I went back and finished. Um, but yeah, this was my way to substitute learning. Because if you think about a book, like a leadership book, a self-development book, I mean, I could pull any of these books off of my shelf. This is someone's lifetime worth of research, right?
Yeah.
Like it is their lifetime worth of, um, focusing in on a topic.
Effort.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, and if I can take that and I can read it or listen to it via Audible in a day or a week or whatever it is, like I just took their lifetime of information and plugged it into my brain in like a snap of a finger, right? I mean, think about
Yeah.
that. And so to do that, over 1,000 times over, a number of years, like
Mm-hmm.
it was more than going to college, right? Like I earned a
Yeah.
master's degree in reading.
Yeah. Yeah. AI is afraid
Yeah.
of you. It's
But
awesome.
it's like now it's so interesting to me is that because I've read so much, like when people are talking, I'm always thinking about, oh, I've heard that somewhere.
Mm.
I've heard that in a book somewhere. Like I was just having dinner with my son last night and he mentioned something. I got up from the table, walked into here, grabbed a book off the shelf and brought it back to him. I'm like, you were just talking about this. It's in this book. You should check it out.
That's
And now
awesome.
he's reading it. But I do this at work. Like I said, like I heard a team member talking about somebody that they were struggling with something. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's always like, oh, well, let me give you this book to read. And then when you're done, come talk to me about it. So,
Right. Right.
yeah.
That's that's really helpful. Good person to have, in your in the space too. Someone who's like knowledgeable like that, constantly, you know, putting putting knowledge in front of you like that. Um, I just have a couple closing questions here. I know we talked a lot about books. What's the best career advice you've ever received?
I love that one. Um, there's two. I'm going to say there's two. The first one was when I was in the field as a
Mm-hmm.
builder myself. Um, I had a mentor impress upon me that good is enough, right?
Yeah.
That progress beats perfection is another way to say that. But for me, I latched on to good is enough. I was as a builder in the field, I was a perfectionist, and um, this probably goes back to my all in everything personality, right?
Yeah.
Um, but having someone say this out loud to me and help me wake up like
Mm-hmm.
to perfectionism, especially in homes. Like being a perfectionist as a home builder meant that I could never finish.
True.
I struggled at the end all the time because I kept seeing something that needed to be worked on. I kept seeing something that needed a piece of blue tape on it at the punch phase, right? And I always
Blessing
wanted to
and a
keep
curse.
working, and I struggled to deliver the home at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Once I got this, where I could say good is enough, it helped me realize that as a perfectionist, my good is probably better than someone else perfect, right?
Right.
And that allowed me to say, okay, I'm done. And now I can finish on time. And I'm still delivering an amazing home, even
Mm-hmm.
if I see some little things,
Yeah.
right? I might be the only one in the world that see those little things. Or, someone with this kind of mindset like mine, like they're going to walk in and see these little things, but no one else is going to see it. And so it's okay. We could
Yeah.
let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good is enough is the first one.
Good as enough.
Um, as a leader, um, you know, I had a mentor help me with, um, oh gosh, he said, "What do you think we should do?" Right? And I'll explain that. Um, my brain is wired if one of my team members comes to me and says, "Seth, we're having this problem with this." I got 18 ideas in my head on how to solve it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And as a leader, I want to just be like, here's just go do this, just go do this, right? And he really helped me realize I cannot do that. I have to stop myself from doing that because it's not
Mm.
good for my team.
You're going to be doing the
Um,
thinking for them.
yes, yes. So rather than solving everyone's problems, he really taught me that I needed to teach people how to think, that I needed to teach people how I wanted them to think or how to think like me in those situations,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like um,
Hard
solving
to let
everyone's
go.
problems. Oh, totally, totally, so hard. It's just a natural reaction. You want to blurt it out. Do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you're a
And
perfectionist too. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So like, but like solving all of those problems for the team keeps them reliant on you to keep coming back to
Mm-hmm.
do that for them. And asking them, what do you think we should do, causes them to think. And it also does two things for me. When they answer, it can affirm what was in my head. And now I
True.
know we're on the right path of you and me, like, working together. I can now trust you to do the right thing, right? Or do what I think is right in any situation. Um, if they don't answer the right way, now we have a different story where I can now start to ask more questions. Well, how did you get to that? Because maybe that's not what I was thinking. Or rephrase it to them and ask them again and see if they can get to where you're at. Because for something's causing them to not be on the same page as
Oh,
you.
oh yeah.
And so, like, it's just this question is it's hard to do. You got to slow down your brain. Um, but it works and it works really well. And I actually just used this yesterday with somebody. I still use this every day since I like it was taught to me. And so bonus points because it also works with your kids. Um,
True.
yeah, yeah. What do you think we should do? Is powerful. And it can be phrased in different ways. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think we should do? How do you think we should proceed? I mean, yeah. So,
Broccoli's on the plate. What do you think we should do?
oh man.
Say it's
Uh,
candy, eat it. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's good. No, I think that that definitely like takes it off of you and puts it to them where they're in a learning capacity, which is
Hmm.
what should happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the
that's
day, as a
awesome.
leader, like my job is to help grow them. And if I'm solving all their problems, they're never going to,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, yeah. So
It makes
powerful
sense.
question. Powerful question. What do you think we
Yeah.
should do?
Such a good answer too. Um, the last one is any books you'd recommend. But
Hmm.
I don't know now. You got 1032. I don't know which if you have a favorite one.
I do have favorites. I do have favorites.
Okay.
Like I said, I have some that I maybe not every year, but every couple of years I might go back to them. And um, a lot of them are on the shelf behind me. But um, the ideal team player
Mm-hmm.
is one of my favorites, especially if you're in a hiring manager capacity.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at people from the lens of the ideal team player, you want a team full of ideal team players. That'll teach you how to do that. Um,
Perfect.
Extreme ownership, and the sister book to that is the dichotomy of leadership. Are
Never
both
heard of these.
both great, both great. Atomic Habits is
Yep.
wonderful.
Yep.
If you're
James
trying to
Clear.
rewire your brain for
Yep.
habit building, it's great. Um,
That's one that can be revisited quite a bit.
Absolutely, yeah. The Power of Moments is one of my favorites.
Mm.
Um, Again, I think if you're a hiring manager, you should read that book, and it'll help you understand what someone's first day needs to look like
Mm.
to set them up for success at your organization.
Wow.
Um, the Energy Bus, I think, is a good one.
Yeah, that's a
Uh,
big one in construction.
yep,
I've read
yep.
that multiple times.
If you are in a position where you are influencing the culture of your company, I
Mm-hmm.
would absolutely read the Culture Code. That is one of my favorites.
Yep. Read that one
Yeah.
too.
Um, some smaller ones, Love Works is a good one. Eat the Frog.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
there's a
Been
book
there.
called Oh Great One, all about how to like praise people. Lead with Love, The Coffee Bean. Um, there's a really good one called Grit that's got a lot of like science and psychology behind it about how your brain works and how to get through hard things.
That's really cool.
Yep. Um, it's Your Ship from a guy in the Navy. taking over a ship that was absolutely failing and turning it around to like be the best ship in the Navy is a
Oh,
cool
that's
one.
cool. That's cool.
Um, yeah, the 1 minute manager. I actually just handed off the 1 minute manager to one of my people last week, and I had a whole like 1 minute manager conversation with somebody in my organization the other day, which is fun. Um, Another one that's hard to do, but the principles in that book will kind of change how you lead people.
Was it a minute long?
Um, it's really, I mean, it's quick. It's quick. Good leaders ask great questions is my last one. I like that one a lot because you're going to have to ask great questions of your team to get things out of them. So that's, was that like 15 or so? Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
15 out of the 1032. That's awesome though. I've read some of those, but not all of them. So I'm going to grab some of those after this and I'll start them. Will I finish
Yeah.
them? Maybe, but I'll
Maybe.
start them. Seth, I'm super excited. I'm really glad that I asked you to be on here, and I'm glad that you agreed. I'm glad that your wife said yes and
Right. Me too.
made you do it. She didn't make you do it, but
She
she
gives great
made you.
advice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, I just want to say thanks. I'm sure a lot of people here, whether they're in home building or not, would really, admire the words you talked about today. And I think that it really provided a lot of value and insight on people that are looking to develop in their career. So
Yeah.
thank you.
This was fun. Thank you for having me on. An honor to be part of your podcast. I know you're launching it, so like
Yep.
super fun to be part of the like first group here
Yeah.
with you. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. No, thanks so much, Seth. Hope you have a good one. We'll see ya.
Thank you.